All right. We are live. Just going to post the link in the group. We are live. Live right now. All right. If you're joining us, let me know where you are sailing this week, where you sailed last week. How's it going? Just want to double check all this stuff. Here I can make this stuff a little bit bigger. So if you're just joining us, let us know how it's going. We've got a really busy live coaching to do this week. I'm pretty excited to get into it. Hey Steen, did you work out how to get into the group? I know you're having a problem. If you guys are having problems with Facebook and the group, let me know and we'll see if we can get it going. Hey Caro, tell us about the sailing. I did not sail this week. Let me just close this thing. I did not sail this week. Caro, Samuel, Vestenda, nice. Mario, Dom, Stina. Yeah, I didn't sail. I was just too busy. There's too much other stuff going on, too hard with the family and my other commitments. And it's been a long time since that's been the case where I've missed a good session because it was really good up in Denmark this week. I don't know the last time I missed a good session because I was too busy or had too many other commitments. I think it was in 2017 and I was doing a lot of work on Maui on a project. Yeah, so kind of funny not sailing this week because it was pretty epic up in Denmark, but happy to hear that everyone else had some good sections. Hey John. Yeah, how was Browers Dam? Jorg. It's a Dom. Cool to hear you got 2 sessions with a 4.5, too small for surfing, broke a mast. Did you break another mast on a back loop? So another mast from your post? Ouch. Oh yeah, Steen, how was the session in Croatia? How were the conditions? What was the wind like? What were the waves like? Were there waves? Cool. Mario, everyone was getting in the water, huh? Tomas had a good session. Ragnar, nice to see you, Ragnar. Nice. Good to hear. Bjorn, you gotta let me know when Lista is good, when there's a good forecast, you gotta let me know. I'm so down to come. Mert, how's it going? Richie, Fabrice, Dom. All right, so let's get into it. We got a good crew already. Good to see you all. Like I said, I missed out sailing this week, which it's crazy because my life is built around sailing, but sometimes other commitments come up and I had a lot of family stuff, a lot of work stuff to do, and I didn't get on the water. 3-4. Wow, that sounds super windy. What direction was it, Steen? All right. While we're waiting for the wind report from Steen from Croatia, let's go through and do the results from this competition. I'm excited to do this. So this is the end. I'll give you guys a few minutes. So if you haven't entered the competition, here's the competition. It's in the Facebook group and the rules are all here. There's this picture. You have to guess what move I'm attempting. Did I make it? And then the correct answers are going to enter into a drawing and they're going to win a Ezzy Sales duffel bag. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. I'll set the timer. So let's say 9:10, so 4 minutes from now, when my clock says 9:10, that's when the entries are all closed. We're going to do the drawing for this prize? Well, first I'm going to show the sequence, and we're going to go through. So I went through and I liked all the answers. I've already, well, most of the answers, but I'm pretty sure I've gone through all of these. But you can still put an answer in. We're going to wait a few more minutes. Hey, Mark, love the footage you put in the group this week. We're going to do this drawing for the competition. We're just waiting 4 more minutes to give all the last minute entries a chance. And again, so you got to get the correct move and the correct guess on whether I landed it or not. Hey, Pier Francesco, Sven. Yeah, Bjorn, I really want to sell Lista. I've got a list of spots that around Europe that I really want to sail. Lista's one, Kapumanu is one. I really want to get Iceland one day, but Lista and just Norway in general, and then Kapumanu are really high up there. Galicia as well. Richie, where was your elbow sore? Like actually in the elbow or more in the forearm? I don't think I've ever had it in the elbow, or maybe not even heard of that, but I can find out. Hey, Sammy. I've definitely had it in the forearms, where my forearms are getting too exhausted. And for that, I would recommend doing grip strength exercises. So like I showed with the towel hang pull-ups, or just hanging from a bar. Okay, Carl. And doing that hanging, that grip strength really works your forearms. But if you're actually having the pain in your elbow, that sounds like something else. And I really recommend seeing a physiotherapist. This is one of my big themes from the last year after I injured my knee, is that physio should be as big a part of your life as you can afford. And the work that you do that's preventative is so important. Hey, Matt. Nice. Where did you sail? How were the conditions? So that work you do that's preventative is so important, because getting injured is such a big event on your body, right? Even if you can recover from it, it's so hard on not just the part of your body that gets injured, but everywhere around it and your whole body, because you're resting for so long. You're dealing with atrophy. So doing that preventative physio is really important. And yeah, so finding a good physiotherapist. I think you want to find someone that works with athletes and trains athletes. And so who's not just doing recovery, but is also doing preventative training and exercises. And that person will be able to help you, hopefully, with what's going on in your elbow. And that's my recommendation to everyone. I think, whatever you can afford, if it's one session with a physio and you pay, $100, €100 for one session a year, and that person does an overview of you and gives you some exercises for you to do on your own, it's so worth it. And then the more you can do, the better. So if you can go see someone, say, once a month, or even once a week, or once every 2 weeks, having that in your life is really good for your physical fitness, your confidence, your ability to resist injury. I really recommend it. Hey, Edwin. Nice. Flatwater fun. Taught your friend a bit. 360. Nice. Yeah, mobility exercises. Yeah, mobility and stretching would be a good topic, Bjorn. I'm always hesitant to say too much, because I'm not a licensed therapist myself, and I really don't want to say something wrong. So I'm more inclined to share just what I do that works. And so, hey, Dennis, so when I'm doing, for example, the in-person clinics, I share a lot of what I personally do. But I'm hesitant to share too much because I'm not licensed as a therapist. But maybe we can bring someone on. We've got a few therapists in the group, and it'd be cool to bring someone in and talk to them about what we can do for windsurfing. But I think also it's really important to see someone specifically one-to-one, because everyone has a different body and different things going on. And so having that person, do sort of an overview of you and then come up with some specific exercises for you, I think is really, really helpful. So you're saying it's the triceps of the front arm going out in poso, the pushing arm when you're pumping the sail while hooked. Interesting. So that could be, so I have no idea, right? Like I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not a doctor, all these caveats. I've had issues in poso before of pain in my arms, this kind of shooting pain that's traveling down the arm that was coming from a pinched nerve by the shoulder blade, because those muscles by your shoulder blades are really getting worked in poso and tight, and I would get these like balls that would pinch the nerve that they would come all the way down my arm. Not good. All right, you know what, it's past 9:10. You know what that means? It means that it is time to go through the giveaway. All right, so let me go through. So entries are closed. Done, done, done. All right, so here's the picture. You guys ready for the sequence? Where's the sequence? The sequence is here. Oops. All right. So sequence is here. I'm going to play the movie. So can you guys see that? I'll go through that a little bit more slowly. So this was the picture that was posted, which I chose because it's so hard to know what it is. But it is actually a goiter, and it is very landed. So we can watch that whole thing again. It's a goiter. It's a goiter going out, paunch going out. And there's a bit of height behind the wave. There's like quite a big trough behind the wave. So the mast doesn't really touch, which makes it look a bit weirder on this one. And come through and then landing there. So yeah, it's a goiter going out, which I really like to do when it's kind of onshore. I can go through the sequence again like this. Nah, I'm not gonna do it like that. That takes too long. All right, so let's go through and find out who the winner is. So I think we've got all of the. So I put all the names in here. Let me just double check. So let's see. For example, yep, there we go. That's correct. Gary, that's correct. Bay, that's correct. Morgan, yep. So I think all the names of everyone who guessed correctly is in here. So number 1 through 22. Oh, there's one more answer. Goiter, not landed. Well, it was landed. Okay, so now we're gonna do a random number, 1 to 22. Random number generator. Right, this should work. Right, 1 to 22, and our answer is 4. So that's Michael Bumba. All right, so let's go back here to the comments. Congrats, you won. Boom. All right, congrats, Michael, and everyone else who played and who guessed it correctly. I enjoyed this game. I enjoyed reading the answers, and it is something that we'll do again. Yeah, good job. Good job. I'm surprised actually how many correct answers there were. I don't know if I would have got it correctly if I saw this, because it looks a lot like a push loop or a cheese roll. It looks weird. So good job to everyone who got it right. Congrats to Michael. I'll follow up with you in your messages about getting your address, and I'll mail you the bag. And we're gonna do another giveaway. I want to do one of these maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. Let's see. So this was, yeah, maybe we'll see. Let's see how it goes in the group, how busy we all are. And all right, let's get into the coaching. Let me know if everything sounds okay. My mic should be working. Everything should be working. But if it's not, let me know. And interrupt me anytime. You guys know the drill. You can interrupt me with any questions. And I'm just going to go through what's posted in the group. And of course, ask your questions. Interrupt me. If you're not a member of the Facebook group by now, it's facebook.com/group/Ezzy Coaching. Or if you search for Graham Ezzy's Windsurf Coaching Community. And we have a lot of great discussion there, giveaways, a lot of good coaching. Cool community. You know, it's not just me. It's not just, you know, a question that I answer. It's a whole community, and you guys make up that community, and it's really cool. All right, so Caro has been working on her forwards, and this is a long journey for Caro. I'm really proud of her and the progress that she's made, and also the perseverance. You know, she's been working on this for years, and, you know, dealing with some of the mental blocks, some of the fear factors of the forward, and you can see that she's really getting close. I mean, Caro, I know you said you didn't jump on this one, but you did jump a bit. You got some air. You're really, really, really close to getting there. And, you know, you've got, I think, a pretty clear path of what you want to work on with the forward. It's just a matter of doing it in a way that you're comfortable with. And I think that you can have confidence that your path is working. You know, you can see the progress that you're making. And so it's just a matter of showing up and putting in the time and taking those steps forward. And then once you've reached, you know, one step solidly, stepping to the next level. So going with more speed, going off of a bigger wave, and doing that gradually, but making sure that you're not staying on one level. And you've done a really good job. You know, I've seen a lot of progress even in the last year. So this is really cool to see. And I'm excited to see the next step in your journey. I feel like this is even a step up from what I was seeing in Tenerife. And so it looks like you are taking those next steps. So just stay on the path, stay focused, put in the time. You're getting there. All right. So we've got some, let's see what was posted in here. Not really much in these comments, but I know we've got a lot of other posts. So we've got some stuff from Dom, one of the OG Ezzy Coaching Group members. Dom, I think, were you the first one to send in footage? You might be. Can you remember that, Dom? Were you the first one? So Dom is not happy with these, but these are nice forwards. Dom, you're doing a good job. These are good. I know you want to get them better, but still, they're good. They're solid. Solid forwards. Here you are looking back. You know, you mentioned in your post that you're not looking back as much as you'd like. You are looking back. The landing looks a little hard. You know, if you're rotating more horizontally, you'll have a softer landing. Just trying to see where your backhand is here. Yeah, so, you know, you mentioned a wider grip in your comment, and I think that it could be wider. And then, you know, you also mentioned about the head. The head I'm not sure about, because here I can see at this moment your head looks back. right? Which is the right moment for the loop. Yeah, the landing looks hard. Landing looks hard. So I think having that wider grip would help. Trying to see, I mean, yeah, and here you're not really looking with the head as much. So let's go into some tips. So what I like to, especially for forwards of this height, which are not really super high, I like to really put my hand back before, way before the ramp. So let's find some video. So you really want to get that wide grip well before you hit the ramp. So interesting. What makes it hard, Dom Dom, to look back through the whole rotation? Oh, there you go. There you are. So what makes it hard to look back? So here's one. So you can see that I start looking back even before I'm off the ramp, right? Here's the little ramp. And as I'm reaching the top of the ramp, my head is already looking back. My hand is already back on the boom. And you can really see from this video, so the camera's on my head, you can see how hard I'm looking back and how much of a twist the move is. So look, I'm looking back at the beach and I'm trying to see where I'm gonna go before I get there. And so then I'm trying to look at the water at the landing, and this is not like a really big forward loop, right? This is just kind of a little ramp. Ricardo's struggling to get on that wave. And so what I want to show with this video is just how much looking back is not looking back, but looking where you're going. As you can see, right? Like I'm looking here, looking around, and then the gear is just following right behind me. Just following right behind me. And getting that mental understanding, I think really helps. Here's another one. But what I wanted to show was the hands. So here you can see, so I'm grabbing it a little bit late. You can grab back even before this point. So here I'm grabbing back as I'm going up the wave, but you can grab back here before you unhook. And then you unhook. And then you go. I don't know what this forward is. So like here, look, my hand starts moving back here before I unhook. I would like to see my hand go farther back. Well, I do put it farther back. So this is interesting. So I'm moving the hand back in 2 steps. So I move it back there in the beginning. Move it back, right here. Didn't we just see it move back? But Dum Dum, if you're not looking back, you're also not seeing the landing, right? So here, reach back, reach up, look back. I'm trying to look where I'm going, look where I'm going. And then here I can see how high I am. So I can sheet out and catch the landing. So the hand starts going back kind of gradually till I get up the wave. But my point is you can move the hand back before you unhook. This is kind of a weird forward. But because I'm looking back, I'm able to, see that I'm still quite high when I finish, and then sheet out and catch the rotation rather than over rotating or doing something weird. It looks like, yeah, landing was okay. What, oh shoot, now I'm opening up BLC player. Which one, Dom Dom? The one from the helmet? Or the, one of these ones in slow motion from this angle? So Mert, which is the one that you want me to post? I'll post whatever you guys want, but just tell me which one. One of these slow motion ones, or the one from the helmet cam? I don't know why the other forward videos are not coming up. But so Bjorn and Dom Dom, I don't think of it that way. I don't think of it as not looking back and then looking forward. It's not that I'm looking back and then I'm looking forward. What's happening is that my body is catching up with my head. So I'm looking where I'm going, and then my head is rotating, or my body is rotating. And then at a certain point, my head is looking still at the same spot, and my body is catching up to my head. So it's not that I'm ever moving my head from here to here. It's that my body, if you guys can see this, is like I'm looking here, and then my body is coming around, and my head is still looking at the same spot. So it's never that I'm looking back and then looking forward, or at least it doesn't feel that way. It feels like I'm looking where I'm going, and then my body and the rig and the board are catching up with me. Let's see if I've got more video. I have a bunch from the course I did. This is another forward loop, which this one is on. Wow, we can't watch it like this. This is like a crazy way to watch it. But there's a 3D video, and this is on my YouTube. I don't know if that helps. So here's some more. But basically, Dom Dom, the takeaways are move your hand back before you get to the ramp. So here, look, I move my hand back here. And then I move it back, inch it back even a little bit more. So there's kind of two takeaway lessons about the hand. One is you don't have to do it all at one time. You can do it incrementally. So here you can see I start moving my hand back when I see the ramp. And then as I unhook, I move my hand a little bit more back. Oh, this is a weird one though. I remember this one. The form, I don't like my form on this one. This is a terrible form. I don't know what's going on with this loop. This was a weird day with the wind. I mean, it's landed okay, but it's a weird loop. But anyway, the point about the hands is still valid. I don't know why the other forwards are not showing up, because there's a whole bunch from my Learn to Loop course. Anyway, you want to make sure that you're moving that hand back way before you get to the ramp, so then there's not too many things going on in your head. So that would be one thing to work on, Dom Dom. I think just work on the hand. Like really, when you're working on these fine-tune elements because, you're doing good forwards. These are great forwards. And you're just trying to fine tune them. Work on one thing at a time, right? It's hard enough to change one thing. So let's just work on the hands for now. And the head can come later. I think the head has more psychology behind it to get it right. But getting your wide grip will help with the forwards. And so let's work on that first of all. And so just make sure that you're moving your hands back way before the ramp. And just work on that for now. You can do it incrementally. So you do your backhand back a bit and then a bit farther back again. Once you get to the ramp, whatever you're comfortable with. But just get it done early. Get it done really early. And just focus on that wide grip. And then the head can come later. Because I think if you're trying to focus on both of these, you're going to do none of them. So just focus on the grip. And these are good forwards, right? And I think the hands are easier to get than the head. So do that first. And then, then we go from there. And this is a nice one from Paul. Good technique here. And here you can also see from this angle, you can see that he looks back, or he's looking in the direction he's going, and then the gear and the sail comes back to meet his head, right? Like he never moves his head forward again, right? The head just stays looking at one place, and the board and the sail and the body come to meet it. This is a really good example. This angle, this video is really cool. All right, let's move on. Caro on her 360 journey. Caro, I'm so proud of you. This is great. You're getting air. You're not sheeting in. Really, really solid. What I want you to do differently, the one thing I want you to do, I want you to do everything the same. So I don't want you to change anything, is your head. So when you get to this point, I want you to look back to the beach. So you're looking over your left shoulder, looking back at the beach. Just look back at the beach. That's it. So just do exactly the same as what you're doing, but instead of looking at your feet, just look back at the beach. And that's the next step for you. So you've come really a long way with these, and I love seeing how free you are and how fluid this looks, getting a bit of height. I love that you're staying open with the sail and you're not cutting off the rotation too early. All looks great. I just want to see you at this point, once you're already coming up to the top of the wave, and without sheeting in, I want you to look back to the beach. Okay? That's it. One thing. Let's work on one thing at a time. So just looking back to the beach. So if Claudius is on the beach taking pictures, you're trying to look at him, trying to look at the camera, smile for the camera. But I love seeing the progress. Okay. All right, let's this Facebook kicked us out. All right, Dom, broken mass. Yeah, bummer with the broken mast, man. That sucks to break a mast on the back loop. Let's watch the video. Nice head motion. Nice, coming in on the nose. And it looks like, so did you land it? So this one is landed, right? So is this back loop the one you broke the mast? Because that looks like just a perfect back loop. It looks great. The one thing I said in my comment, so there's a couple of things. So one thing about mast is that how you take care of your mast is really important for the long life of the mast. So most masts break because of how they're handled. And so like if you drop a mast on the rocks and it gets a little ding, like a little impact, it creates a fissure in the carbon, and that's a weak point then in the mast when it's under load, and it will break there. So you never want to drop your mast, you never want to throw your mast. It's good to have it in a little bag in the car. There's not much that can hit it, right? What you don't want is that something sharp hitting it to make that fissure, make that crack in the glass, in the carbon. So how you take care of the mast makes a big difference. It's also quite a spectrum of quality in terms of the construction of the mast. So some brands will break more than others. Not to name any brands here. I haven't broken a mast on a back loop, I think, ever. But yeah, let's see. There's one. I posted that picture. Let's I think I don't know where the let me see if I can find that. Yeah, this is the video with the where is this? So this is the hardest landing I've had. But Dom, if you have the mast in a bag, so like in a padded bag, I think you're not going to have that problem on the plane because it's not going to get that little fissure. All right, Thomas says, test at Lista. If I could look forward during the front loop, chin on left axle did the trick. Now I just look at my hand while boom slips through. It's all about pulling in. Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing with the forward is that, you know, if you there's a few key elements, and as long as you check off some of the boxes, you can do a good forward. But to really do technically perfect forward, then you want to have all the elements. So if you see Costa or Brasinho doing their doubles, you know, they've got super wide grip. They're really tucked in tight. They've got their elbow to their waist. They're looking back over their shoulder, not down, not under. And that's how they're doing those perfect double forwards, by having all of those elements there. And you can do really good forwards without ticking all the boxes, just ticking some of them, like the wide grip, sheeting in hard, tucking up. But to really do those perfect forwards, you got to have everything. Yeah, Benoit, I don't know if you... Welcome to the stream. I don't know if you were here while I was showing the videos for my forwards, but I'm also sliding my hand forward at the end when I know that I'm landing. And to connect the dots, I think the only way that I know when to slide my hand forward is by looking over my shoulder with my head, so that my head is ahead of my body, so I know where the water is going to be, so then I can slide my hand forward before I land. That said, I think for a lot of planing forwards, which Dom wants to do, planing forwards, I think I try to keep a wide grip. But we can go back and look at the video. I just wanted to show you guys, this is the hardest backloop landing I've ever had. I thought I was going to break my legs, which is funny because I have actually had a backloop where I did break my leg, kind of. I broke the ligaments in my knee. But this landing still somehow felt harder. The one where I broke my knee, or I didn't break the knee, I broke the tendons in the knee, or the ligament, sorry. The white was also a backloop off the lip. So both of my two hardest backloop landings have been backloop off the lips. And I landed on the whitewater on that one, and the whitewater came back up at the board, and so then the board did some kind of funny upward motion as I was landing, and that was not good for my knee. But this one at Jaws, which it's kind of a weird rotation, because hitting the lip here, I mean, this section, I remember seeing this section, I was like, okay, I just have to hit it. And it's not the first backloop off the lip that I've gone for there. And I was like, I'm going to land this one inside. I remember that was my thinking. I was like, all right, I'm going to land in front of the wave, because I've done them off the back before. I was like, all right, I'm going to land in front of the wave. And so I really just hit it to get that high five. So I get that high five, and it's really throwing me forward rather than high. And so I come up, go into the rotation, and it's super weird entry into the rotation. It actually looks more like a kind of an air taka, but it felt like a back loop still somehow. And so that like I come here and I catch the wind, I see my landing, and I remember thinking at this point, it was like, on one side of my brain, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm actually going to land this. I'm going to be the first person to land this. And then the other side of my brain, I was thinking, I'm going to break my legs. And it was so hard to time the landing, because instead of like with a normal back loop where you've got this static water, it's not really static, but it's kind of flat. This is the wave face, which is changing all the time, and it's hard to see. And so I thought I was going to touch down kind of like here, but you can see that I don't. So then I end up landing more on the tail. And so at this point, I still thought I was going to land it actually. And then this landing was so hard. I thought my legs were going to break. You can see the mass distorting, and I was still trying to hold on, but it was just too much force. You can see I'm still trying to hold on there. Like my arm is still there, but I just couldn't hold it, and then got pounded. Yeah. Anyway, so there's one of my back loops. So Dum, to make the landing a bit softer, I want to see you push the sail a little bit more towards the nose. Just get that sail just pushed a little bit more towards the nose. I think it can be helpful to think about having that front arm straight. Let's see, back loop. I mean, here you can see that my front arm is not straight, but I start kind of pushing the sail a little bit more forward. Let's see if this one has it. And again, it's not a must. Like a lot of these things that we're talking about when we're talking about fine tuning a move, as long as you get some of the boxes checked, you're going to do it moderately well. But if we want to do it perfectly, then it's a matter of checking all the boxes. So like here, it's a little bit better with pushing the sail forward. And so it's, that motion of this like windshield wiper motion, straightening that front arm, moving the sail towards the nose of the board. And if you try that in the air when you're coming down, you'll notice that it just gives you a lot of control. Oh, here's another back loop off the lip. I haven't done one of these since I blew out my knee. Let's see if I push it forward here. Yeah, so here you can see it exactly. Can you guys see that? Is that still on your screen? Here, let me make this smaller. You can see, I mean, it's a back loop off the lip, right? So it's a little bit of a different move, but you can see all right, you can see, so I go out of the frame here, but here you can see that the sail is back, right? And now I'm trying to get to the point of landing, a soft landing, and watch, I'm pushing the sail towards the nose of the board and try and get that kind of front arm straight. So here you can see that moment where the front arm is straight and that back arm is still really sheeting in. And that's what kind of kills the rotation speed, kills the power in the sail, because it's opposite to the way that you're rotating in the back loop, and allows you to land pretty softly. This one I end up not landing, but you can at least see that in action. I wonder if you can see it in this one. I don't know why I always go out of frame on these. But here you can also kind of see that I'm pushing the sail towards the nose of the board. So this one, again, I go kind of out of frame. But at least it's landed. Yeah, and it can be kind of subtle, but you want to think of getting that sail forward, and it just gives you more control. Gives you more control, takes out some of the power in the sail, because if you think about it, you're rotating this way. A forward loop is then rotating this way. So if you do the motion of a forward loop, which is, to push the sail kind of forward and sheet in, it's opposite to the direction that it's opposite to the direction that you're rotating. So then it's going to stop your rotation, right? And will kind of kill the power in the sail and kill that sort of push loopy power that's in the sail that comes if you're sheeting out, right? If you're kind of sheeting out, pushing the sail like this, then you go into that push loop. So what you want to be doing is, it's pretty similar to that kind of forward feeling where you're pushing that front arm towards the nose, straightening the front arm, sheeting in. Yeah. Here's a back loop, 360 back loop. But we can't watch it like that. That's too crazy. I'll post that also on YouTube. All right. So, Dom, the one thing that I want you to work on is just pushing the sail a bit towards the nose of the board this moment. And you can think of sort of getting that front arm straight. And this is on a spectrum, right? So it's not going to be every time that you want to do it this way. But by pushing the sail forward and sheeting in, it kind of kills your rotation, kills the power in the sail. So it especially helps if you're coming down from a higher back loop. So like if you watch these, the really high ones from Philip or Brasinho, they're really doing this, and then the whole way down, they're one position coming down rather than rotating and trying to time that rotation with when they hit the water. But in other kinds of back loops, you want to rotate a little bit more at the end, and in those, then you're not going to be doing the same motion as much. Right? That makes sense? All right, I just got a message to change the date here. So let me just quickly change this. Okay, save. All right, now we can move on. But good job. I mean, if you land it, that's most of what counts, right? All right, Mark, this is great. I can really, Thomas, what do you mean log in with side wind, side shore? Oh, Lista. Oh, I didn't see that. On Tuesday, Wednesday, Lista. Oh, Wind Guru. All right, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay, I'll look into it. All right, Mark. I can see that these turns are looking more dynamic. You've got more speed. You've got more rail use. I like seeing that a lot. Side Vin, side shore. Hold on, let me write that down. All right. So, Mark, great. Sorry, Max. So I can see, Mark, that you're applying more of the rail elements. especially in this last turn here, I can really see that the board is carving, right? I can see that you've got this wide grip, you're putting pressure on the toe side rail, you're carving around here. The conditions do look difficult. It looks like the wind is not that strong and the waves don't have that much power, which is difficult. So, you know, you gotta not be too hard on yourself. To answer your question about how the backside turn should feel, yes, Jeff, I will. Here, let me pull up a backside from Tenerife. And I can kind of give you a little example of what I mean. So what I'm thinking about is not pushing my hips or my knees forward. One of these is the backside. There's Ragnar-san. Oh, come on. So this is a different kind of backside than what you're doing. But basically what I'm leading up to is that you want to really be leaning forward with your whole body. Here it is. This is the one I was trying to find. And so you can see that I'm kind of carving up into it. And then I'm not pushing my knees or my hips forward. I've got my body in that sort of power position. And Fritz is going in front of me here. But you can see that I'm really leaning forward. So look, my whole body is over the center line of the board. And that's what allows the board to do this nice carve. And you want to have that wide grip on the boom. And you can sheet in going into it and then sheet out as you're doing the turn. And start sheeting in again as you're coming down into the wind. Let's see if there's another one here. So you really want to kind of bend the knees and get the whole body sort of over the center line. So here's another little one. You know, I mean, it's a tiny one, but yeah, Pier Francesco makes a good point on the back loops that if you do this too much, then you don't complete the rotation. So you know, it's something you have to fine tune. So, Mark, does that make any sense, what I just said? Let's see if we have more backside videos. All right, here's another backside ride from Hokipa. So this is a different kind of backside where instead of carving, I'm lying on the sail, right? But then you need a bit of wave to help you with this. And then it's really using a lot of the sail, backwinding the sail. And this is what Caro is talking about in the comment where she's talking about really throwing the sail down and lying on the sail. And so there's two main types of backside in windsurfing. The one like I showed in the first example, and then these ones where you're really kind of coming up like a shove it. You're bringing the sail down and floating on top of the sail. And they're both important to know how to do. The sheeting out helps to, I feel like for me, it makes space for my body to lean forward. And then I'm carving and then the sail is neutral for a bit and then it catches the wind again. And then in that moment, I start to sheet in again. Does that make sense? So like one of the things it does is it really helps to make that space. These are all different kinds of backsides. these are all different kinds of backsides. Here, maybe. All right, this is another of these sort of sail floaty ones where then you just really want to jam the sail into your shins and really lean onto it. So you want to think about throwing everything. If I look at the picture, you're throwing everything here. So the sail and the body weight is going in front of the wave and a bit to your downwind side. Here's another example. So the sheeting out does help to get the board around, but I think it's more about making space for your body. And then also so that then you have sort of less pressure from the sail so you can get on that rail. This is a backside 360, I think. Yeah. That's also a backside. So I think I have some from my Portugal trip. If you guys give me a second. But does it make sense what I'm saying, Mark? Do you understand what I mean when I say what I say? So this is from the footage I sent to Ben Prophet. Pretty sure there's the backside in here. Not really, actually. Okay. I'll see if I have more carving backsides around because I think that's what you're trying to do, right? If you're interested in the sort of sail floating backsides, I can go over that as well. But it's helpful to have some wind because the wind is what's pushing up on the sail. And so if you don't have a lot of wind, but you have a powerful wave, then you have the apparent wind, right? Because you're generating speed from the wave. But if you're going slow and there's not much wind, it's pretty hard to do that sail lay down. You can do it if you're going slow, if there's wind, or even sometimes if the wave is producing wind up the face. But these waves that you're riding don't look very powerful. So it depends. What size sail are you on in this? I think I asked you. Did you answer that in here? You're on a 5.0. 5.0 and 20 to 25 knots, slightly underpowered. So if you're underpowered, I would go more for the carving. I think when you're doing the floating on the sail, you want to have a bit of wind, and then it can really support you. Either you want to have wind, speed, or power in the wave. Whereas with the carving, I think there's a bit more leeway. So what you can think of doing, which is maybe helpful, is at this point where you're starting that carve, right? Sometimes with this angle, I lose a bit of perspective, but yeah, there you're doing a carve, right? Doing a backside carve. What you can think about doing is really looking with your head down the line. So if we go back to the video of me doing it, I think I'm really looking hard with my head back down the wave, like in the direction that I'm turning to. And what you can think about doing is doing a jibe. And so stay in the straps, but think, okay, if I'm going to do a carving jibe here, what would that look like? And so you're sheeting in the beginning, but then you're kind of sheeting out as you're leaning over the rail and getting your body over the rail, getting your body over the center line. And you don't complete the jibe, right? Then turn that into your wave ride. But this is really more similar to a jibe than a normal bottom turn. A lot of people say, oh, how you jibe is how you bottom turn. And sometimes that's true, but I kind of have trouble with that statement because it's really not always true, and it's fine to do slam jibes and you want to do long carving bottom turn. But this kind of turn is a lot more similar to a jibe actually than a bottom turn is. So you can think of this kind of backside turn, Mark, as something more similar to a jibe. So you want to be really looking with that head down the line, and then you start shooting out the sail and really leaning over the board, and think of it like a jibe, like you're trying to come around and then stay, kloof first, switch foot, and then just carry your speed back around and keep riding the wave. Does that give you a clear next step to focus on? Let me know in the chat whether that's clear enough. So you want to make sure you're looking with your head, you're leaning over the center of the board, and think of it like a jibe in that part of the turn. But I like the progress that we see. But make sure that makes sense. So let me know in the chat. All right, I asked you guys if you follow the PWA World Tour. We've got some great answers here. It's cool. It's interesting to hear pretty much everyone who does watches slalom and waves, which is interesting. I probably would have guessed more waves, but there's a lot of people following the slalom, and there's great coverage and commentary and video of the slalom now, which makes it really fun to watch. So I love reading your answers. I want to do questions like this every week, and I've got a bunch of questions that I'm curious about. Windsurfing is such a kind of a lonely sport in a way, right? It's not a team sport. You don't need another person to do it. And yeah, we have friends who windsurf, but it's a lot more lonely than other sports. And it's cool then to see what everyone's experience is, because most of these things we're doing on our own, right? So we're also watching it alone. And some of you guys mentioned that you watched with friends or whatever, but this isn't necessarily all known. So it's cool to see how we are experiencing windsurfing together. And so I really liked reading these comments and seeing how other people view the World Tour and what influences them and what doesn't. I want to do questions like this every week. If you want to help me come up with those questions, let me know. Send me a message. We have, some different positions that have opened up in the group. Dom and Fabrice have been doing the history. We've got some other moderation that's going on. And yeah, it'd be cool to have someone or a group of people that's coming up with some of these comments. So if that's something you're interested in, or if you have an idea for a way that we can do it, let me know. I'm happy to keep, I've got a bunch of questions to ask the group every week, but I think it's cool to also include the team in this process. And, as Mert said, it's a community sport. We do it alone, but we share the experience. So I would love to share the experience of asking these questions with you guys as well. All right, moving on. All right, Dennis. So Dennis was on our masterclass in Tenerife, which was really cool to work with him there. Oops, what did I do? Oh, Facebook. All right, so he came back to windsurfing after a long break, and so he'd done forwards before, and now coming back to windsurfing, he doesn't have a problem with throwing the rotation, but he wants a cleaner rotation. So he's unhappy with how he's rotating and how he's landing. But Dennis, right on. I mean, the hardest part with the forward is just doing them. And so right on. There's a nice tail grab. And so Dennis's question is about the form in the forward. He's got these cool comparison pictures of entry into the forward versus entry into the grab. And, his question is about more than just forwards, because Dennis can do forwards, right? He just wants to get them better. And it's really at its heart about breaking bad habits, which is one of the hardest things to do in windsurfing, right? Getting off that plateau, breaking the habits. And it's such a good question, such a difficult question. Chris, who's been in the coaching group since the beginning, I don't know if he's in the chat at the moment, he just landed a back loop last week, and he was so happy about it. And it came about after this break he had because he injured his shoulder, so he's off the water for a few months, but he was still thinking about windsurfing a lot and really trying to visualize the back loop, really trying to visualize the landing. And when he got back, there was the first session back on the water after months off the water, and he landed his first back loop. And it's so cool. I think it's really not a coincidence that it happened after that break, because having the break allowed him to sort of erase the bad habits. Yes, you're here. Well, I shouldn't be telling your story. You want to tell your story in the chat? I hope I'm telling it accurately. But this is at least how I understood it from what you were saying. And it really helped also doing the visualization. So all the time that he was off the water, he was visualizing the proper form for the back loop. And it's something, I think, Chris, am I remembering this correctly, that Ibaya recommended that you visualize the landing, to really visualize the landing. And I think that that's really, really good advice. And, I'm not saying you guys should get injured. That's not the point. But sometimes having that break can be really useful. And that doesn't mean a break from windsurfing, but a break from, if every time you go out, you work on your back loops, maybe it's a break from doing back loops for 4 weeks and you're doing other stuff at that time, and then you come back to them. And while you're off the water, really work, or not off the water, but while you're off the back loops, then you're really working on the visualization of them. And Dennis, I think it's something similar here for you, is you can really work on the visualization of the forward and really getting it in the way that you want to do it. You mentioned down below doing the Remco Waimaru method, which also might be useful. But the first thing I would do is really working on the visualization, doing some of the Tai Chi. So this helped me a lot when I was doing freestyle. So when I was a teenager, I was training freestyle. It's like learning Spocks and Diablos and stuff like that. And I would do super slow motion just on the beach or in my house or whatever with no gear. Just slow motion of the move, right? So, okay, this is the Spock, right? Super slow motion. And try and break it down as slow as possible. And really making sure that my form was perfect during those small moments, and really aware of everything, and making sure that there was no sort of empty zone or dead zone where I didn't know what to do with my body. And you do that, 100 times, do that exercise on land, or 1,000 times, whatever. And I think that will really help to ingrain the right muscle memory, which will help with doing, the twist instead of the somersault for the forward for you, Dennis. So the visualization, it sounds like you got it. I mean, it's something you can do, it's not abstract, By visualization, I mean, you can close your eyes and you go through the whole thing as if it's you doing it. So holding the boom, not seeing it as like a third person. And you go through the whole thing super slowly, and you make sure you can see it in your head. And then you do the Tai Chi exercise on the beach, and just do that so much just to work on the muscle memory. And then at the same time, work on something else when you're on the water. So that would be my homework for you, actually, is until I see you in Denmark, don't go for so many forwards. I mean, that sounds kind of crazy and maybe even too crazy to say. So maybe just do 2 weeks or something. Let's do 2 weeks no forwards, okay? 2 weeks no forwards, but I want you visualizing them. So when you're on the water, do other stuff. Work on grabs, work on throwing your head back. So just throwing your head back when you jump up, just a straight jump where you just throw your head back. They're super fun jumps. They look cool. They teach you a lot about jumping and sail dynamics and where your body is in the jump. And your sail, one of the things I love about this exercise is that your sail does weird things when you throw your head back, because then your weight's in a different place and you're pulling against the sail in a different way. And it's one of the exercises that I really recommend for anyone that's into jumping. So it's just doing a head back straight jump. So you're just really just throwing your head back, right? Arching your back, throwing your head back. That's something you can work on the different grabs, front hand off, back hand off, grabbing the rail, grabbing the tail. But don't do forwards for 2 weeks. But during those 2 weeks, do the visualizations, do the Tai Chi. And in the Tai Chi, it's so important, right? You've got the wide grip. You're throwing everything forward. You're looking over your shoulder. You're getting that twist, right? You're twisting and go through the whole motion, right? So you don't just do this and then stop. Like, you do it standing up, not sitting down, and then come all the way around. So that's your homework, Dennis. That's your homework. And I think the head back jumps are going to be something really interesting for you. Let me know if you've tried those before and if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean when I say that? All right. Let's see what else is in the group. All right, so Dennis, let me know if that makes sense. Yeah, no forwards and Tai Chi. And then also, when you are in the water, to substitute the forwards, to have something to work on the rail grab, tail grab, and the head back jumps. So you're still doing stuff on the water. You're still having fun and trying something new and pushing yourself. The head back one, I think is really cool. That's one I hope you can understand what I mean. So let me know if you understand or not. Here's a rigging video that I did for the Ezzy Wave. If you have any questions about rigging, check it out. We go over a lot of details about rigging. So it's kind of worth seeing. Yeah, Caro's been on fire this week, landing a back loop. So Caro, looks like taking off upwind has really helped you. I want to see more head, right? Your head is looking kind of forward this whole time, but you land it, and it seemed like the taking off upwind really helped. But keep doing this. Like, I don't want to give you too many tips because it seems like you're on this really good path. Keep taking off really upwind and doing the back loops. If you want to incorporate one thing, try to get some of the head looking, right? Just try to get some of the head looking. But this seems like a good path. And so for those of you who maybe haven't been following Caro's journey, she's been working on the back loops for a little bit now. And, she was working on going much more upwind on the takeoff. And that has really paid off. Really, really paid off. And so you don't have to go that high, right? But really taking off. And, I can see there's a couple cool things we see here. Where I can really see how focused you are here. Looks like you're extending your legs. So you could extend your leg a little bit earlier to get a bit more push off the wave. But it looks good. Looks good. You landed it. Congrats. Kevin asks about the training masterclasses that happened in August in Tenerife. We went over this a bit in the last live stream, and I want to go through the video and post a few things as well. but they were great. We had a lot of progress in Tenerife. The way that I talk about the masterclass is, you know, I'm giving a lot of tools during that week, and it's like planting seeds. And you see some of the seeds grow and blossom during that week, but ideally they're growing and blossoming over the next 6 months as well. And so you start to see those improvements happening, you know, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, as the pieces start coming together. It's really cool to see them happening on the week, to see the puzzle pieces start to come together. But it's actually even cooler to get the email 2 months later saying, oh my God, I had a session and it all came together. Everything finally clicked. So I love those moments as well. Maybe even more so because those are bigger breakthroughs. But it's all cool. I love seeing all the progress. I'll do a little update. We'll see if I've got time this week to put that together and post it in the group. Ale asked about helmets. Super interesting question. There's a lot of good comments here also about coming up with a helmet specific for windsurfing. Yeah, there's a lot of good comments in here. I like this thread. It's interesting. I wore a helmet for a long time. I don't now. I'm not against helmets. I think it would be really cool to have a helmet that's specifically designed for windsurfing and that solves some of the problems with the current windsurfing helmets. Michael asked about conditions on Maui. Michael, let us know how your trip was. Let's just say that. Let us know how the trip goes. All right. There's some info about forecasting here. This is the best Maui wind forecasting, weather.hawaii.edu. And this is an old one now. Robbie Nash movie. Cool. We've gone through everything now. All right. We're all caught up. All right. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off. And you guys have a good windy week. And of course, post your questions, comments, videos, all of the above in the group. I know there were some requests for me to post some videos that I shared here. I think that's in the chat, so I can go back through the chat. But so I need to post the forward slow-mo and the forward with the helmet cam. I'll post those on YouTube or in the group or somewhere. All right, guys. Seems like that's it for questions. I'm going to sign off. I'll see you next Sunday, and I'll see you in the group. Have a good windy week. All right. Take care, everyone. Ciao.